Dan, it is great to have best dressed guy on Wall Street, man. Best dressed guy.
Great to be here as always.
All right, so another bullish note. In all fairness for the audience, you're pretty much bullish on all tech. You're always bullish. AI party, it's 10 o'clock, goes to 4 o'clock, there's an after party. I understand the whole narrative. But on a very serious note, we're looking at Apple right now. What pushes this company even higher?
I mean, our supply chain checks coming out of Asia are bullish. I mean, I think right now they're trending 5 to 10 million iPhone units ahead of the street. And what that means is you have a strong holiday season. The AI revolution on the consumer side comes through Cupertino, and that's worth $30 to $40 per share.
All right, so you're seriously bullish. By the way, your price target is at 300. The consensus on the streets at 255. Right where the stock's trading at right now is in fact. So almost everybody else sees the stock pretty much staying where it's at. So I want to get to some of the data from your note. It's a really good note that's out today again. Your estimate is for 240 million iPhones to be sold in fiscal year 2025. You also say there's 300 iPhones that need to be upgraded, basically haven't been upgraded in 4 years. That's a big chunk of those non-upgraded iPhones. I want to ask you, is it just Apple Intelligence? Is that what people are upgrading for, or is there something else in there?
And there's two things. I mean, one, look, this super cycle, it's really going to be an AI-driven super cycle for Apple. Half of it is 300 million of the 1.5 billion iPhones. They haven't upgraded in 4+ years. So you're seeing that play out really across the globe, including in China. But ultimately, we could talk about the AI revolution from an enterprise, goes through Godfather of AI, Jensen, NVIDIA, and as well as Palantir and others. The consumer AI revolution from an Apple Intelligence will come through the iPhone.
Now, Dan, you know I'm a fan of yours, but I do have to push back on one thing. I know you talk to a lot of developers, and a lot of developers are creating apps for iPhones, but they're also creating apps for laptops. And we have not seen an AI revolution in laptops. Everybody keeps saying we're going to see this big churn and people buying new laptops to get these AI capabilities. Why are phones so much different than laptops?
I think, well, first of all, phones, that's the first step in terms of these developers. Hundreds of apps that will be built on top of Apple Intelligence in terms of from an AI perspective. When you look at laptops and iPads, that's coming. That's why right now this is a renaissance of growth for Apple. First the iPhones, then ultimately the rest of the product line. But that's why right now they're playing, look, they're playing chess. Others are playing checkers in terms of AI revolution.
Okay, even if they're playing chess, there have to be some benchmarks here. So again, you're calling for 240 million iPhones sold in fiscal year 2025 on the strength of Apple Intelligence. So when we're looking at this, if they do 220, is that a failure? Is that a referendum that Apple Intelligence isn't working? It's still a whole lot of iPhones, and still a lot of those have to be upgraded. But what's the number in your mind that they really have to hit for Apple Intelligence to be a quote-unquote success?
Yeah, and I think, and look, this is going to be multi-year, but 220 million, it's a line in the sand.
Okay.
230 million, bullish. 240 million, Cook's going to be in the dance for that AI party. And I think as this all plays out, all of our checks coming out of Asia are showing much more toward a 240 million. And that's why, look, the bears, they can't see AI in the spreadsheets. So this is all just starting to play out for Apple, which is why I think $4 trillion on the horizon.
It's easy to talk about Apple. It's one of the most widely held stocks in the market, huge mega cap stock. But we also want to talk to you about the Apple ecosystem. If Apple is able to reach anywhere close to this estimate of 240 million iPhones, who else benefits?
Look, I think on the consumer side, I mean, tangentially, you're going to have other big tech players, Google, Meta, you know, in terms of just from an advertising perspective, as it all plays out on the consumer side. But look, I think right now it's really going to be, if you look at Roblox, you look at some of these other sort of consumer-driven names, Frank, our view is we're just starting now. It's year 3 of what's going to be a 5 to 6 year bull market. But Apple, Cook, they're going to be a key player in this AI party.